Soobramoney, Sandy, Dar, Nair. We may have all called him different things, but regardless, he managed to impact your life in some way. I had originally begun writing the speech when he became gravely ill in August of last year, and since then, we, as a family, have had time to reflect and come to terms with him passing away and the coming to an end of both his suffering and an eventful journey that was his life. First off, being a proud man, I know he would wish that when I continue with this eulogy, that you remember him as he was before he felt ill, rolling around Durban North at the dawn of the streets with his big sunglasses and an old school cap, whistling loudly after he's had a few razors. Right, so I will not spend much time on going over any of his childhood, as he always felt grateful that the struggles he endured got him to where he was. After his ups and downs, he settled as a pattern maker and met the love of his life, Nalini, whom he loved fiercely to the point it was inspiring. A year or so ago, my mother had found him reminiscing and tearing up over the woman he had loved so much for so long after her passing. He kept all the letters exchanged between them, and if you ever asked him about her, you were likely fortunate enough that he would have read you one or two. Whenever it did, you could always sense the immense love that he had for her. If you ever asked him, he would always say he was never a wealthy man, but he never had one for much, and he never let his kids go without something they truly needed. Despite his modest approach to life, he managed to do remarkable things, like send both his kids to university and take his wife and his family to other countries for holidays in circumstances when a man of his background maybe shouldn't have had the right to. In some ways, you could have described him as eccentric, a man with a fascination of action films and actors that he would describe as mean. If you ever visited him, it is likely that you would first hear his movie from the road on the way in, and he would only notice you once you had reached his door. I know, on multiple occasions when calling him for supper or lunch, I would have to scream over the movie to try and get his attention. And when I did so, he'd generally be happy to see me and whistle all the way to the dining room table, bringing along a special glass. Personally, he did a great deal for me, possibly more than any of his other grandkids. And looking back, maybe some of the times I took it for granted. From picking me up from school and hooting for me a few hundred meters down the road, to bringing me emergency cricket gear when I had forgotten it at home. He attempted a few times to make me take up fishing, which was one of his favorite things to do. And being the good grandfather that he was, he only ever asked me for numbers for the July, and never actually taught me how to gamble on horses myself. He was the handyman and self-proclaimed MacGyver around his house, and wherever else he could fiddle, including breaking one of my favorite cricket bats that I actually never told him about. From bowling and batting with me, putting with me, and giving me tips on how to do martial arts like Jean-Claude Van Damme, he was always around and always loved to have company, whether it was his grandkids or one of his old drinking buddies. I strongly believe that if his childhood circumstances were different, he would have likely made a good engineer of some sort. He was greatly intelligent with what resources he had available to him. And I only did notice this after I had seen and met many more people of his generation. Telling stories and making up tales was one of his favorite things to do, and being around him for any length of time would likely result in a story, a beer, and a razor blade. It is hard to try and bring back all the good memories I had with him personally, as there were so many, and I'm sure as you're watching this now, you have tons of memories coming through. If you'd like, when you're done watching this, we'd love for you to send us a message, a voice note, or even call us, and tell us some of your favorite memories you had with him, so that we can celebrate his memory together. If you asked him what his greatest achievement was, it would always be the same answer: his family. Every achievement was always celebrated, and he was always proud of whatever we did, and immense support that was always unwavering. Due to current circumstances, we felt it would be better not to take any chances and have a small final night ceremony. And knowing Da, he would have likely wanted something similar, although we feel it is not the fitting farewell that he deserved for a man of his caliber. If you are receiving this video, we hope that you do not weep tears of sorrow, but rather tears of joy at the extraordinary life that he led. If he could come back now and tell us some of the journey of the afterlife, he'd probably say, he's cool. And if he saw us now all crying, he'd probably say, what the shit? And you should pour a shot, son. So for the last part of this video, I'd love for you to celebrate him the way he would celebrate any occasion. So if you'd like, you can pause the video now and quickly pour something to remember him by. And as I have here one of his favorite combinations of mainstay and beer, I'd like to say a great thank you to you, Da, wherever your spirit may be, from everyone whose life you've touched. We're all truly privileged to have you in our lives, and especially from your family, who you did so much for over your lifetime. I hope you and Ma spend an eternity making up for the time that you've lost with each other. And you watch over us with great pride and happiness until we meet again. Love you. Da.